Welcome back to On the Scene. Today we're talking about a very special event that's coming to the city of Suffolk. It's the 2015 Walk to End Alzheimer's. And of course, to talk about the event today, we have two very special guests. We have our mayor, Linda Johnson, and we also have the executive director of the Southeast Virginia chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, Gino Colombara. Thank you both for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this.
Let's talk about the event first, just some very basics, and then get into really what it's all about. Gino, I don't know if you want to kind of lead us off first up to tell us a little bit about the nuts and bolts, when it's going to take place and where, and then let's get into really the true meaning behind the event itself.
Sure. Well, it's going to take place on Saturday, September 19th at Constance Wharf. The mayor, again, is acting as our honorary chair and always does a great job kicking off the event for us. And it's great to have her presence there and her voice and her validation of what an important cause this is. This cause is really about creating community, the walk. We have 6 walks throughout our service area, and this is the first walk of our season.
Nice.
On September 19th. The ceremony will begin about 9:30.
Yep.
The actual walk will begin about 10, and it's about a 2-mile walk, but people can do also 1 mile.
Right.
And we have music, festivities. A lot of our local community organizations also will have information there to help families get the resources they need. So it's really about making sure that people don't feel alone with this disease, because it can be a very lonely disease, and to let them know that there is an organization like the Alzheimer's Association who can provide a great deal of services and support, as well as local community resources that have skilled expertise to provide specialized services to families dealing with this disease. So it's a great opportunity to really get out there, to create community, and to build support.
I think the key word community there, and you're talking about an event that not only is certainly a fundraiser, but the education component and the support that people who are either dealing with or have dealt with Alzheimer's, family members or friends or relatives, whatever, through the process. But Mayor, if you talk a little bit about what the event means to you and what role you feel like you play in this and your personal experience involved with that as well.
It is a really important event to me, and as you said, community. Over the years, I've developed friendships now with the folks that I see there, and you see their struggles, but you also see their accomplishments and the feeling that they have, that the leaning on one another, and I think that's the important piece to it. For me, I've just seen so much of it. I have had neighbors very young. I think we think of it as an older disease. It is not. I think the movie this year, Still Alice, and having read the book and everything, gives it a new sense of raising the elevation of people to understand what this truly is. And for me, I always ask the question, and we've had this discussion a lot. I have an elderly parent who is quite well cognitively but has some physical issues, and the question has always been, is it harder? Is this disease? And in my opinion, this is probably the cruelest disease that I've ever seen, because you are there in body, but there's so much that you cannot do and have to lean on others for. So the community and the feeling of coming together to give that what people need is the piece for me that makes it so special.
And I think I had read some statistics about when we start talking about Alzheimer's and dementia and everything together there, that I believe it ranks, unfortunately, 6th among the top 10 causes of death in the United States. And I also believe that it's the only one in the top 10 that I do not believe is preventable.
Correct.
So that's something to think about, because we think about other things, but when it comes to this one, and it's certainly education and research and everything that's going on right now can possibly get us to a different situation. But what we're dealing with right now, the fact, again, it's not preventable.
Right, exactly, and that's what we're trying to do with advancing research. I mean, this disease is affecting about over 5 million people nationwide. 44 million worldwide, and of the 5 million, 2/3 are women.
Right.
So it's affecting more women, and women are also the primary caregivers for the most part. So there's a lot of impact here, and as the mayor said, and she's a great cheerleader for this cause for sure. But she's absolutely right. This disease, unlike so many others, it's a family disease. Not so much that the family is affected by the disease itself, but they have to actually be the advocate for that individual. And if you haven't prepared yourself for something like that, it's a very difficult journey, and especially difficult if you're going to try to do it alone. And many people feel that they are alone with this. So research is a real key component, and part of the Walk to End Alzheimer's, obviously, is to put an end to this disease, to really fund research initiatives, as well as support local programs and services to help people today dealing with this disease and journeying through the maze of Alzheimer's. I think there's a great deal of hope on the horizon in terms of the disease. We need to find those disease-modifying treatments. We need to detect the disease early so people can at least get on the medications that are currently available. I recently attended the Alzheimer's Association International Conference on Research in DC in July, and what an awe-inspiring event. There were 4,500 researchers from 60 countries convening together to address this disease. And there are a few drugs now that are going in the second and third phase of FDA trials that are showing some promise. And hopefully if they prove efficacy in these later trials, that we might be turning the corner on this disease. And that's the great hope. But really education is the key, is the real treatment right now. And coming out to this walks, no matter where you come, whichever walk you attend, you really get to talk to a lot of people who are journeying the same path as you.
Now, earlier I'd mentioned two particular words, certainly Alzheimer's and also dementia. If either one of you could give some input as far as on maybe the difference or the interaction between the two, and really when we speak about Alzheimer's, which I know is kind of a broad topic there, but some of the things that people, the early signs that maybe that's unfortunately the situation you find yourself in. And again, you talked about prevention and some of the things that are out there are working toward that, I should say. But just some of the early signs that we can all look for in the event that we are, well, obviously we ourselves or certainly family members are impacted by this.
Sure.
Just
well, Alzheimer's disease is a progressive degenerative disorder of the brain, okay? It's the most common form of dementia, dementia being the umbrella term. Dementia really just describes cognitive decline, the symptoms of cognitive decline. It's a term like cancer. There are many forms of cancer, just like there are many forms of dementia. Alzheimer's is the most common form of dementia. In terms of warning signs, most people think of Alzheimer's as forgetting, but it's much more than forgetting. It's really a loss of memory that affects your activities of daily life. It's a loss of functionality. You can't remember anymore. You can't plan anymore. You can't really think. Ultimately, as the disease progresses, you lose your ability to communicate. And so it's much more severe than we all forget. But the thing is, we can remember, we can plan, we can retain information.
But typically, we don't forget to eat.
Exactly.
Yes.
Your basic functions.
Right.
And if I could, again, anyone that wants to take the time and should read the book, Still Alice, I think that really makes it you're aware of the differences, how it comes about, and the fact that these symptoms can start very early.
Correct.
And I think too, we were talking about the disease and the number 6 cause of death.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not so much the death, it's the living with it. And I think what I see with this walk and with everything that Gina is such a great person doing here is the compassion and the love that you feel when you're there. It becomes a family. And like I say, every year now I know a lot of those caregivers, they may have lost their loved one, but they're still there and they're going to continue to fight this fight because they feel that passionate about it.
Indeed. Now, so let's talk about the walk in particular. Again, you talked about the registration. What is the deadline? Can you still register the day of the event?
Yeah, you can still register the day of, but if you go to alz.org/walk, you can register online for the walk. If you raise $100 or more, you get a walk T-shirt.
Very good.
So, it's about fundraising, obviously, but it's also equally as important about awareness building. And so it's getting those people out there. Also, something that's very important, I know the mayor can attest to this, is having a voice.
Absolutely.
That is extremely important because that voice, our voice, is very powerful in terms of changing legislation, enacting legislation. Recently, because of our voices, the Alzheimer Accountability Act was passed unanimously, which now will allow the National Institutes of Health to actually develop a specific Alzheimer budget to achieve the national plan goal of effectively treating this disease by 2025 and what it'll take. And that budget will only go to the President and the Congress. It will not be buried in the Department of Human Health and Services budget. So it'll be up there in the forefront to really indicate the urgency of this matter. So our voices are very important. So when you come to the walk, you can also sign up to be an advocate, and I hope people will do that.
Very good.
And
now,
you will hear some wonderful stories too.
Yeah.
You always have a family member, a caregiver, whatever, to give some stories and sad but really wonderful stories to warm your heart.
Now, there is a ceremony to also kind of kick off the event. What's going to take place with the ceremony itself?
Well, as the mayor mentioned, we have a promise garden ceremony, and we have 4 flowers. One is for someone who is currently living with the disease. One is for a caregiver. One is for someone who has lost someone to the disease, and one is for someone who's an advocate. So we have 4 representatives for each, one for each flower, to kind of share their story and their experience in terms of the journey. And then everybody raises their flowers, and you have this beautiful color, rainbow of all these colors, showing the promise that we're making to put an end to this disease and work together. I mean, it's our legacy.
Sure.
It is our legacy. Yes. When we come together like this, it's really creating a legacy to put an end to this disease, and we all have a piece of that puzzle, which is really tremendous. You know, when I went to that research conference, it was, you know, I get goosebumps because I see all these people worldwide working together to really affect change. And the reason we are advancing in terms of research funding and research initiatives, it's because of our voices.
Yes.
Is we're making it loud and clear. So my greatest hope for this walk in Western Tidewater is to really get everybody out there and really fill Constance Wharf, so we are just packed with beautiful flowers and really making a statement that we as a community, as a nation, as a world, are going to put an end to this disease.
Now, of course, you talk about participating. You can do it as an individual or as a team member, so there's different ways you can get involved.
Exactly.
Certainly volunteer as well, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah, we always need a lot of volunteers, and really, you know, people can call our 800 number, 800-272-3900. Number one, if they need support, that's a 24-hour number. So if you need any support day or night, you've got someone there. Also to say, hey, you know, I'm interested in volunteering for the walk. Right. They can contact us through that as well, or go through the alz.org/walk. And when you sign up, you can also, you know, say, hey, I might be also interested in volunteering. So there's just a lot of opportunities, exactly. A lot of opportunities for organizations to get involved and to be there to share their information as well. So it is truly a community event, and one that is very uplifting and inspiring.
Looking forward to it. And Mayor, we just have a couple minutes left, but I want to give you the opportunity, if someone is thinking about participating, or possibly, again, is in a family situation where Alzheimer's is unfortunately a factor there, just a message you would deliver to them as the chairperson, as one of the speakers for this year's event, to kind of get that message out there, to come out, participate, whether you're walking, whether you're just there to gather information, and reaching out to get that assistance and be part of that community.
Well, you know, I've done this for a number of years now, and I just have to tell you that of all the walks, and they're all great purposes, but it's a magnificent morning. It's a morning that will change your heart. It will make you think. It will make you feel blessed, and realize that you need to do more for others. I think it's just a life-changing moment, and I would encourage everyone to be a part of it.
Gino, any final words from you?
Yeah, I hope to see everybody there, because really that makes a statement. And the more people we have, the more of a statement it makes in terms of the urgency of this cause. And also, more importantly, to really make sure that those who are feeling alone right now with this disease really are able to know that there is someone there who can help them, yes. And they don't have to journey this disease alone. And that's the most important thing about the walk, in my opinion. So getting out there and making it happen. We always have a beautiful day. The mayor does a great job. As you can tell, she's a great advocate for this cause.
You'll see babies in strollers to elderly people, and it's just a wonderful morning.
Yeah, so I hope people will go to alz.org/walk or call us at 800-272-3900. Again, all our family services are free, thanks to community events such as this.
Very good. Looking forward to the Walk to End Alzheimer's, Saturday, September the 19th. Constance Wharf Park and Marina, right here in the city of Suffolk. A great event, hopefully a great day, certainly with a great message. And again, we're out there to kind of, as the title says, to end Alzheimer's is what we're looking to do.
And if people want to register, we're having a kickoff on September 4th at the Hilton.
Okay.
So in the afternoon, so that's a great opportunity to come,
Perfect.
Get some food,
yes.
And also sign up for the walk.
Good deal. All right. Well, thank you both for spending time with us today about a very important topic. And again, September the 19th, make sure you circle that date on your calendar. Get out there and register and participate on whatever level that you can. Certainly, again, we want to get out there and end Alzheimer's. And that will do it for this segment here on The Scene, but we have more after this break.